Hi folks, Prayer here. Today I got for you guys the Forever Lock. I was on a forum, somebody was asking about it, why nobody had picked it yet. Um, and I replied just nobody had any ideas on how to pick it, and I wanted to get my hands on one, so see if I could get into it. So I got one. I ordered it early December. Showed up really quickly. Came in straight from Taiwan. Showed up really quickly. Had it for about 2 days. Then I finally got into it, looked at it, and had it open within about 2 hours. So first impressions, I really wasn't impressed with it. All of the parts are made of cast aluminum, really cheap parts. Now you guys know the Forever Lock. They have locks ranging from about $100 US to $150 US. And guys, be honest with yourself. For that price, you are not getting a high security lock. Doesn't matter what your thinking is. $100 for a lock this complicated. They had to cut corners somewhere, and I'm gonna get into that towards the end of the video. I'll get to the good stuff first, and then I'll go through and point out all the bad parts that I found. To me, it's a novelty lock. Clever design, but it just doesn't feel solid. It isn't solid, and again, I'll get into that later. This one I did cut open because within 3 days I broke it. I'll tell you exactly how I broke it and what happened, but it was broken within 3 days. But I did get it open. I did get it open quite a few times. Now the box states many times that sorry guys, my phone's about to die. Just gonna plug it in here. Okay, sorry about that. So the box states you can't pick it. Patented anti-lock picking key loading chamber. It says it a couple more times on here. Cannot be picked. You can't pick what you can't see. All that is true. I couldn't pick it. I could not get a pick inside the chamber. The website also states, here you can see that, no picking, no bumping, no key impressioning, foiling. You can't get in it by foil impressioning. I'm not 100% sure about the foil impressioning. I didn't try it. I might try it just for the fun of it. No bumping, well, you know what? That's the one I have problems with. And you'll see this very shortly. No picking, again, very true. So if you guys haven't seen inside of a Forever Lock, this thing has so many parts. I tried to count them. I lost count at 60 separate parts for this lock. You just can't make a lock for $100 that has 60 plus parts to it, and have something high security. To me, my mind, it just can't be done. So This is it disassembled. Now you're not gonna see 60 parts because I didn't know of the 60 parts, so a lot of them just went flying and I can't find them anymore. And I'll get into all that later in the video. I'll just show you guys how I got into it. So key goes in like that. Yes, it goes in upside down because when you load it in the chamber, it's like that. It turns it around and then it goes into the core like that. It's a tiny little core. No, it is not 3 pins. Again, I'll get into what those are later. Key goes in, turns. It's a 5 slider. Now, somebody had mentioned, I'm not 100% sure who had mentioned that the wafers or the sliders are not spring loaded. Well, that's not entirely true. 1 and 3 are not spring loaded, and possibly I think 5 is not spring loaded, but 2 and 4 are. Let's see if I could see 5. Yeah, 5 is not spring loaded, but 2 and 4 are spring loaded. Now, I didn't know this when I first got into the lock, but doesn't really matter if there's springs or in it or not. This technique will work. So what I did was I took a 1/2-inch follower, I ground it out. That's the shape of the bow of the key, if you will, and then I just cut a hollow groove here. So all this is a tensioner. Goes in, and then you can just bump it. I didn't pin that in place, so that's why it's a little floppy, but there you go. It's open. It's really not that hard to get into it. It was a little tougher the first time I got into it, and I wasn't expecting to get into it, so I didn't have the camera running. Now, a lot of you guys are going to be crying foul because, well, the lock's in pieces here. So, we're going to try it on a brand new one. Now, this one's the padlock version, and it doesn't matter if it's the deadbolt version or padlock version, they all have the same core. So this one just showed up a couple days ago, again direct from Taiwan. Now they have a discount going on right now. You could save 10% if you guys want one. Geez, that's already busted open. Okay. Lock's all busted out. Alright. I'm not even going to open up the keys. I'm not even going to look at them. I'll just put those there for now. Oh, jeez. Don't know what all this is for. Then protect something. It's a really weird padlock. Is this thing even... Alright. Alright, I'm just gonna try it with my little tension tool here. Okay, it goes in. Let's see if I could get it open. Sorry guys, if you guys got headphones on, you might want to turn the volume down. Now the first time I got into the other one, it took a while, so if this takes a while, just be patient and go ahead, fast forward if you want. I'm just going to keep it regular speed. I'm just going to check that this thing actually turns. Alright, it does turn pretty smoothly. There we go. It's open. So it took a little while, but yeah, it's not pickable. Completely agree with that. But it's not 100% secure either. It really didn't take much. Just a bit of tapping with the hammer, a little bit of playing around with it, and we got her open. And there's the tension tool again. Now let's get the key. See what the bitting looks like. Not too great, not too terrible. But key goes in, key closes, still works. All locked up. So, alright, I'm gonna get on to the next part, take my review of the lock and why I don't think it's a great lock. But those of you who are cutting it short, thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. If you got any questions, I might answer them later on in the video. If not, put them in the comments and I'll try to answer them as best I can. Okay, so why I think it's a novelty lock. This thing, it's so clumsy, so hard to use. I mean, on a bike might be practical because all you're carrying around is this little thing with the key hidden inside. That's all you have to carry around. I mean, it's bigger than any other key, but I guess you can hook that right to your bicycle shorts or something. As a padlock, I mean, look at this thing. It's massive with a tiny little shackle. Just, I don't know, man. How they could make a high security lock for $120? I just don't know. Now I would hope that this pin would be hardened steel. Where's my magnet? Check now and see if that. So it might be stainless. That might be stainless. So that's steel. Yeah, that's most likely stainless. But all this is all powdered aluminum. I mean, I cut this open. This didn't take me too long. I made a slit and then cut it open with a cold chisel. This is again powdered aluminum. Everything is held into place with tiny little pins. So if you see here, there's little pins. One pin on this side, one pin on that side. So you're not knocking the pin out to be able to access anything. There's another pin under here. So pop that out and there's another pin going through. So that pin goes in here and holds that all together. And then your key slots into here. And this is what pushes the key in, pulls it out, and turns it. Yeah, I don't know what to say, guys. I'm just really not impressed. It's all tiny little pins holding it together. If this thing breaks, there's no recourse. You can't fix it. There's nothing to fix on it. If it breaks, you have to drill the pins out, which is what I did to get it all apart. I had to drill that pin out. I had to drill the two pins that hold this in out. This gets held in to here with two little pins. And this is just cheap aluminum. The pins were really easy to drill out, so I have no idea what those were made of. There's two more pins here that hold the core in place, or the lock body in place, just like that. And then where is it? Yeah, this is the only steel part that I could find on the whole lock, and it's not even hardened. I took a file to it earlier, and this isn't hardened steel. This is just again aluminum rod. This is powdered aluminum, and there's just no way to fix it if it does break. So it did break on me, and I'll explain what happened. So when it's put together, I did have tweezers here somewhere. When it's put together, there are tons, and I mean, there's got to be about 10 to 12 sets of these springs and ball bearings in this lock. Now there's one for each of these two holes, and those interact with the little nub that's right here. And what happened when I was knocking it, I guess I knocked that ball bearing loose because that cutout was too deep, or the ball bearing was too small, and it jammed on me. I couldn't turn it, and then when I managed to turn it, it was really hard to turn, and you could see all the scoring on here. Now you're gonna say that, okay, but you're not supposed to knock the lock. Well, what do you think is gonna happen to this or a bicycle lock when it's on? This is a padlock meant to go on a chain. You really think that's not gonna get knocked around? And this one I don't think has the same ball bearing in there, but the bicycle lock, I mean, it's, to me, it was poorly designed, and I think all these were just to get that positive click when you're back straight. Once it's back straight, it clicks. And that's all that was for. And then there's another set that go here. There's two more in here that interact with little cutouts right here. Little holes right here that give you the positive click when it gets into the right spot. There's four, don't know if you could see that. There you go. There's four little holes here with just tiny little covers, but these cover up little ball bearings and springs that just are there to click back and forth, and that just adds to the complexity of the lock. And then there's another one for this is just the key chamber. That's all this does. This goes in here, and then you got this pin, which this was epoxied in. I hope it was epoxy. I mean, it could have been super glue, but it really wasn't in there all that hard. I didn't have to pull that hard on this. It's got the cut there because that's from trying to cut this off. That goes in there and that turns, and then on here there's a little hole right here. Well, there's another ball bearing and spring combination that goes in here and interacts with that to give it that positive click at the bottom. There's another hole at the bottom where it interacts. That just adds to the complexity of the lock. And then the lock body is held in with two more pins, pin here and a pin here. Very soft pins, very easy to drill out. And just two tiny little pins that are in there that hold the whole thing together. It just, I mean, yeah, those little pins can be strong if put in the right place. Problem with this one, with the Forever Lock, is the deadbolt version specifically, is that it's when you have it on the door, okay, that's how it flush mounts to the door, and that's following the mounting instructions. They give you the mounting instructions right there on the box. Flush mounts to the door with these little screws here. Now, mind you, these are stainless steel. They're screwed into an aluminum cast aluminum body, and then you have these screws to make it long enough, to make these screws long enough to hold this plate on the backside. This is sticking out from the door about 3 inches when it's closed. One good whack with a hammer on that, and you're snapping the screw, you're snapping the casting here. Either way, you're getting in. I was just disappointed in the lock itself. A lot of guys were talking about it, saying it's a great lock, it's unpickable. Yeah, it's unpickable, but you can still get into it non-destructively, and you know that's not a great thing, guys. You can't expect high security from $100 lock. They're going to be around the $200 mark, $150, $200. Let me take this apart, show you guys what this core looks like. Now that's not even a standard size core. I tried with a 1/2 inch follower and it's too small. There's another ball bearing. See, there's a ball bearing and a spring. Come on. And then up here we got these funny little pins, little T-pins, and that pushes down on the slider. Hopefully you guys can see that there. Tiny little T-pin there. And that's what that spring tension on those on that 2 and 4 slider were. There's another one. And that's what was hidden by these 3 brass plugs there. I didn't really take a good look at these sliders, but they look more like wafers to me. Let's pop one out just to see. That's not even a slider pin, it's more of a wafer on the inside. Yeah, hands are getting all greasy. There you go, dump them all out. Doesn't matter, I'm not putting this thing back together. It's going in the garbage. Unless somebody wants it. If you want it, pay the shipping and I'll pack it up for you and you can have it. Not that one. I'm going to keep that one. But you can have this one if you really want it. Alright guys, thanks for watching. That was my opening and review of the Forever Lock.